Hey everybody. Uh, I have a lot of stuff that I would like to share with you right now, but I'm going to limit myself and I'll explain that right now. Actually, I'll read what I have scripted. I had to finally settle on scripting this post because I was getting way too off track with what I was recording before. I was going off on too many tangents and trying to squeeze too many things in, and I was also just getting distracted. And part of the reason why is because I have so many things on my mind right now. Um, and well, let me just explain with this. Let me excuse me. Okay, screw it. I've decided to script this one out anyway, even though I really don't want to divert any time away from the other things that I have to accomplish today. I really want to post this video, however, and since I simply can't manage to smoothly hit all of my talking points in one take, it will actually save me time to script this out rather than do multiple retakes and editing. It will also keep me from trying to squeeze too many different topics and projects into one video. I will post those other recordings just for the hell of it anyway. I'll put them in a playlist and link them at the end of the video. Actually, side note, maybe at this point I won't. I'll just save all of those topics for separate specific videos for those topics and not waste any time showing you what I was trying to share earlier. Basically, just some little progress and hiccups with the reservoir project that I was working on and the refugium. Today, I I had neglected to add in the filter media for a while. The refugium actually came together pretty well. There's some minor issues with it, some slow leaks, but it's working. And even without adding the filter media to it, which the filter media is now in it, even without that filter media, it's still helping keep the water cleaner because of the large volume of water and the beneficial bacteria even had it had a lot of surface area to attach itself to even without the filter media because the refugium allowed for a very slow passage of water through the vertical channels. So even though there wasn't any filter media in there, the walls, the inner walls of the refugium uh, acted as increased surface area for the bacterial buildup anyway. Uh, Moving on. So first things first. Why am I doing this video? I haven't posted in a while, and I don't want my audience to think that I'm not working on anything. Also, my other means of sharing updates is unavailable at the moment, so creating a video is my only option currently, and I'll explain that now. I recently began a website featuring a blog and planned on using it to promote my services as well as maybe monetizing it directly. Additionally, it served as a way for me to interact on a social forum and eliminate the need for other social media platforms, such as Facebook. One of my goals is to get others to learn how to migrate away from these kinds of companies that have poor ethical practices, unfairly use your content, don't reward you for providing them with a profitable system, sell your data, and decisively target you. De- Decisively? Oh, I think I meant to type divisively. Divisively target you with content and advertisements. Uh, Meaning that you're constantly being targeted with stuff that's meant to divide public opinion or create issues among people in society, so that it's easier to manipulate you the way that people who gain to profit, want to be able to control you. Furthermore, the blog is a necessary companion to my video channels, as they close the gaps between projects that are completed and edited. It allows me to share smaller segments that aren't as well suited for a full-blown video post. Sometimes an update is just better shared with some text and pictures. So, yeah, eventually I came to realize that having a blog would be very beneficial, because it's not worth it trying to put everything in a video. Some things make good video content, and then other other things are better shared in just a written format, or accompanied with some graphical support, whatever. But yeah, there's always a lot of stuff that I want to share or update my audience on, and it wasn't until I realized that having a blog was the way to go, that well, whatever I just said. But I'll explain now that I hit a little bump in the road. So it was going well, and I've been learning more and more about web development. I started to integrate social media logins onto my site so that people could access the forums without having to create a new WordPress account. So I use WordPress. It's basically the probably the largest platform for building a website right now. At least one that's not meant strictly for e-commerce. I think they have a very large majority of the websites that are created, blogs and whatnot. Anyway, moving on. I guess to further explain, so without adding on additional plugins, if somebody wanted to comment or respond to my blog posts, or use the forum, the social forum that I added onto the site, they would have to create a WordPress account, and probably a lot of people aren't going to already have a WordPress account. So I'm sure you've used this many times. If you go to a website, it gives you the option of logging in with something like Google, using your Google login or your Facebook login or whatever. So I was adding those things onto my site, and I had success adding on Google login, and I added on, I don't know if you're familiar with, depending on where you are, this messaging app called Line. It's popular here in Taiwan. I added that on as well, and I was in the process of adding Facebook login, which is why I also reactivated my Facebook account. Luckily, not that it really matters that much now, because I probably won't end up doing it, but I'll just say luckily. Luckily, I realized it before the time was up that I might need my Facebook account again, because I had recently deleted my account for the second time. I was fed up and done with it. I just wanted to end it. So I deleted my Facebook account, but then as I was working on the website, I realized I need my Facebook account in order to access Facebook web developer tools, which would allow me to integrate the Facebook login to my website. So luckily, within 30 days, you're able to reactivate your account before it's permanently deleted. So I did that. So now my Facebook is active again. But then to continue on with the script, say where to go to stop there. Is that reactivate my Facebook? About beep, bop, boop. I would not be able to. Yeah, I said that. Okay. So then it wasn't long after this that some of this was just for timeline purposes, to kind of give you an idea of how things were developing for me. So then it wasn't long after my site went down. Anyway, it was sometime after trying to add in the Facebook login um, that I started having an issue with my site. My site went down. You know, everything was going well up until then. I had a bunch of blog posts up, and I was updating the galleries, and things were starting to look really good. Not that I was getting like a whole lot of traffic or anything, but you know, the site was coming together, and it was getting to a point where, you know, I felt like if I started to promote it, it would start to get more traffic. Like I wasn't using any means to promote it, and so anyway, moving on. So it was at this point that my site went down, and my hosting provider, which is Bluehost. Well, I reached out to them for support when my site went down, because from what I could tell on my end, the only message that I got was telling me that there was a DNS error, a DNS domain name system, a DNS error, but what they were telling me was wrong, which was that my A record, which is basically a list of IP addresses to direct the links back to the hosting provider, the correct server on the hosting provider. It was saying that I need to set those to a specific IP address, and that specific IP address is what they were set to. So I didn't understand what was wrong. I reached out to their customer support, and their customer support, we'll get back on script here. Okay, so the help support guy said he wasn't qualified to help me with the issue and had to elevate the support ticket to a higher group, a higher support team, which would take between 48 and 72 hours to respond or resolve. It's been several days and my site is still down, and of course I'm not very happy. So with that said, I'm going to be changing hosting providers. I began to do more research into hosting providers. I'm probably going to go with one called Hostinger. They have great reviews, and especially their customer service seems to be leagues ahead of Bluehost, who is Bluehost. By the way, even if you're not into making your own website or whatever, you've probably seen an advertisement for them because they're a big company. They're actually owned by somebody much bigger. I think it's EIG, whatever. They own, they buy up domain providers, domain services, and put them all under one umbrella, and then get as cheap with their service as possible. So yeah, they're affordable, but they suck. Which at the time I didn't realize that when I got this hosting 3 years ago. And you might be saying 3 years ago, why 3 years ago? Yeah, I actually started down this avenue 3 years ago, but then kind of abandoned it for a while. So at the time, I thought they were a good provider to go with, a hosting service to go with. You know, being one of the bigger names around. And you know, at a glance, they seemed, reputable. But after doing more research, their customer support has tanked, and they're just, yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So yeah, I'm gonna wait a couple more days. I don't know when that issue is going to be resolved, if it's going to be resolved. Hopefully it will be, because I would like to be able to access my website, which I can't access at all right now. I can't log into my WordPress account for that website, meaning I can't make a backup copy of that website and, just get hosting somewhere else, and then, make a copy of that website with a different hosting provider. So, it might end up happening that I have to start from scratch again. It won't be the end of the world. At least I have the knowledge now to move faster, be able to recreate it more quickly. It's just a little bummer, and some time wasted, but some lessons learned. So it's not a total loss. Okay, so moving on. That means, in the meantime, I won't have the blog option available to me. So some things I'm just gonna hold off on posting. Like, yesterday I went hiking, and yeah, I planned on doing that in a blog post, sharing the photos from that in a blog post. Um, and I've got a bunch of projects. Some of them would also be in a blog post. All that stuff is just going to get postponed for a while. All right, moving on to another service provider that I'm irritated with, also related to the website. So I mentioned one of the reasons for having a website is to, monetize it. You don't have to monetize it, but that's one of the many things that people create a website for, try to make money off of it somehow. So I was also looking into different ways in doing that. There's a company called ClickBank. ClickBank. And what they do is provide you an avenue for getting basically referral bonuses. You help the traffic to your website connect to a product, and then you get a piece of that sale. So I started an account, and they had this really annoying video that you have to watch where they basically repeat the same thing over and over again. It's really annoying. I almost want to suggest that you watch it just to see how annoying it is. Of course, don't sign up for their website. I am not recommending them at this point. But in the video, this guy kept on saying, in just these 3 steps, which I'm gonna tell you in a little bit, you'll learn how to blah blah blah, just like so and so who just made $1,000, and just like so and so who cashed in their first check, and then that dialogue repeated. It seemed like 100 times with different names. It was so infuriating. So anyway, after getting through that, creating the account, I got to a part where I had to update some information, and then when I added that information, hit update, that's when I get hit with a denied message saying that my account had to be denied. And then, so of course, I reach out to customer support and ask why that happened. Must have been a mistake, right? Because I had already created the account. I was like in the middle of it. Seemed a little strange. So I'll read. I have the text copied from the email here. I'll read it for you. So their customer service or whatever responded in an email a few days later with this. Hello, thank you for reaching out. Unfortunately, we cannot offer you an account at this time. For security reasons, we are unable to release specifics regarding why the system has declined your attempt to sign up, and we are unable to override this type of decline. We suggest trying again in 3 months, as risk patterns may change. We understand the frustration, but sincerely appreciate your understanding. So they gave me no inclination, no information whatsoever as to why So I'm not gonna try again with them. They suck. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna basically wrap it up now. Make this the end of the video. Um, hopefully, I could resolve the website issue soon. Hopefully, Bluehost gets back to me, and I could get the website back up in the meantime. Ultimately, I am going to switch hosting providers. Um, my my service with Bluehost actually terminates at the end of March, um, which is kind of fortunate, kind of good timing, but also kind of bad timing. If they can't get this issue resolved before my service terminates, then I probably will not be able to make a copy of my existing website so that I could transfer it to my new uh, hosting service. So in that case, I'll definitely have to be starting from scratch. I mean, I might end up starting from scratch before that happens anyway, just because I want to get my blog up and running again. You know, I'm not going to lose my domain names. You know, ultimately those will be transferable. It's the information that was sitting on the server that might get lost. So anyway, I guess that's that. Um, yeah, I guess that's that. That's my update. So I'm gonna try to get some more stuff done today. Um, I got so many things. I guess I'll give you a little update on what I got going on, or maybe not update. I'll just tell you like some of the things that I've got that I'm trying to work on. So luckily, I did make a little progress with the wastewater refugium, not refugium, wastewater reservoir. So that's one of the things that I really want to get resolved because it's kind of an important issue to me. I really want to encourage people to try to use less water. It's actually it would be really beneficial if um, more people could take steps to do that. Uh, it, in the long run, it could end up saving a lot of energy. And well, anyway, I guess the point is there's a solution. It's not that hard. You just it's a matter of convincing people to do it. There are lots of ways that we could really cut down on water usage without, and here's the key thing, without making changes to our or without largely impacting or inconveniencing us. I mean, there's just little things we can do to um, recapture water and then get some more use out of it. Like one of the biggest wastes is that we use perfectly fine drinking water to flush our toilets. I mean, that's insane. If you really think about it, that's insane. That's drinkable water. Some people, there are tons of people in the world, they don't have access to drinking water, clean drinking water, and we flush it right down the toilet in large amounts. So we could eliminate that. We could first of all severely cut back on how much water we use in the shower and for baths and stuff. But even if you don't cut back on how much water you use for your shower, um, it's very easy to recapture that water that you use to bathe with or to wash your clothes, store it in a reservoir system, and then have that reservoir system feed your anything that flushes your toilet, or if you have a urinal, which is the other thing. I'd really like to encourage people to utilize urinals in their home rather than uh, just standard sit toilets. There's no reason why women can't use a urinal either, especially when it's in your home. Um, I'd like to share a design that works for both men and women. And by having a urinal in your home, you could severely cut down on how much water you use, because to flush and clean a urinal uses significantly less water than even your most modern and efficient sit toilets that um, have a tank attached to them. Anyway, I'm starting to do it again. I'm starting to ramble. So yeah, the reservoir system, which I had to partially disassemble. I need to do some work on that. The refugium, that's working, but there's some things I need to do to that as well. Um, Rearrange some things, and it's kind of there's a part of the refugium that's not connected, not integrated. So the main part is working, and the water pumps out into the refugium, flows back into the tank. But there's basically like a diffuser that it's not connected into now. I gotta clean it. And anyway, I've got a story that I'm working on. I'm learning. I'm teaching myself how to um, use this. It's a pretty simple software for making RPG games, um, but also eventually I'd like to uh, become proficient with something like an open source developer like Godot, or even use something like Unreal or Unity. But for now, anyway, that's just what I'm doing without getting too far into it. So I've got I've got some writing to work on. Um, what else? I'll just stop there. Thank you for sticking around. If you are here at the end of the video now, um, you see obviously when I go off script, it starts to get messy. So, yeah, that's it. All right. Hopefully, I'll see you soon, and I'll have some more progress and things to share with you next time, and hopefully not be frustrated about it's tax season. Another thing to just another thing sitting on my mind there. Taxes. There's a very, very long list of things. All right. Oh, later.